If you're looking for answers, then watch this. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alina if you're new here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can ask yourself the right questions and get to know yourself in order to find out your limitations, limiting beliefs, and things that are blocking you to live the life you truly want to live. What is actually the process of thinking? Thinking is the process of asking yourself questions. And you can ask yourself all the wrong questions, or you can learn how to consciously ask yourself the right kind of questions. It is scientifically proven that us humans have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day, which is not just random thoughts, but most of them are actually questions. Like, what should I wear today? Do I want to drink coffee? Do I want to drink tea? Iced matcha latte or iced caramel cappuccino? Does this person like me? Is this all to life? Am I looking fat in this dress? Why does this happen to me? Why is this life so hard? Why am I always broke? Or you could ask yourself, why am I constantly so lucky? Why do opportunities fall into my lap? Why am I always the chosen one? Why does everything in my life just flow so effortlessly? Why am I magnetic to success, wealth, health, and wisdom? Why am I always making the best decisions? Why do I always meet the best people and have the best experiences ever? See, the reason why we oftentimes feel so miserable is that we ask ourselves all these limiting questions, all these wrong questions that are literally making us feel weak, insecure, and doubtful, fearful, all these low kind of vibration feelings that we don't really want in our life. But the brain works like this. It will constantly reflect you evidence of what you're assuming, of what you're thinking. And it will look for evidence to a question that you ask yourself. This is called the confirmation bias. So if you want to activate and transform your confirmation bias in the best possible way, to actually uncover your limiting beliefs and to find out what you actually truly want from life, this video is gonna be for you. It's so important to understand that the quality of the kind of questions that you ask yourself determines the quality of your life. And I came to this idea to do this video because we are literally 9 billion people on this planet, but most of us, we have the same problems. We have the same questions where we're looking for answers, can't seem to find them, and we ask ourselves over and over and over again. And my mission with this channel is to give you a new perspective of thinking, to share my experiences and what I've learned, what helped me overcome certain situations in life, what helped me to shift my mindset, heal myself, finally create and attract the kind of life that I'm looking for. The way how you ask yourself questions is basically just your kind of self-talk. If you ask yourself negative questions, the confirmation bias will literally work for you to find you evidence and the answers to the questions that you keep asking yourself. You can either waste your time to ask yourself all the wrong questions and keep on finding answers that you don't really want to see or hear. You can leverage your God-given talent, which is the confirmation bias and how your brain actually functions, use it the right way and actually leverage that for your own personal benefit. Exactly the same way how you trained yourself to ask yourself the wrong questions, you can also train yourself to ask yourself the right questions. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to find out the most important questions that you need to ask yourself to discover what you want from life and what kind of limitations are actually stopping you. But then you can finally transform your negative self-talk into positive self-talk. And that way you will also change your self-image. Your identity is based on your self-image, and we can have different identities, such as we always have been the one that has been bad at math. We always have been the one that could never handle money well. We always have been the one that just was constantly unlucky and bad things kept on happening to her or him. Like, we have so many narratives that we keep on telling ourselves, like, I'm a shy person, I'm a confident person, I'm this, I'm that. Like, we have so many things that we describe ourselves. Everything that you put after the I am is basically confirming your entire identity and self-image. So you really have to watch out what comes after the I am. And you can either talk a lot of good things about yourself and define yourself with good qualities and a positive narrative, or you could keep on giving yourself instructions of how to be more limited in life. Crazy enough, you can ask yourself very easy questions, but most people don't even have an answer to that. And I will give you 3 questions. I'll challenge you to answer these 3 questions and actually take your time with that and write it down in your journal. And also, I would love if you actually would share it in the comments, because I've met a couple people that I asked these questions and they had to think a very long time to actually find the answer to it. But then we discovered what are the limitations, what are the limiting beliefs that are stopping them, and how they created a false narratives of themselves, how they showed up in the world. And then they realized, wow, like for 20 to 30 years I've been acting and describing myself in this self-image, and I've been acting this way when actually it was just a limitation that, you know, a parent, school teacher, or a friend told them 5 or 10 years ago. And you know, our early childhood years are shaping our life the most, and defining the kind of self-talk that we will have later on, because all our beliefs are shaped in our early childhood years, and whatever you hear in your environment from your parents, how you grow up, will also affect your life in some way. So it's very important to become aware of those habits, of those narratives that you keep on talking yourself, of your self-talk, your self-image. And if you learn how to change your identity and stop talking so negative about you, you can literally create a complete new self-image. That new self-image, you shape a new identity, which then creates a new reality. Any single time that you wake up in your life and you do not like what you see, you don't like your reality, you are struggling, you want to change something, you always have to go back to the root cause of the issue, and it's always your subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind runs 90% of the show, and it is literally defining your habits, your speech, your feelings, even. Like, everything is saved, and sometimes you don't even know it. You're not even aware of the kind of limitations and blockages that you have. I personally learned that these kind of questions really unravel what is laying down underneath. And I'm telling you, when I realized that I was using a false narrative about me, and that I was talking so low about myself, and that I was just constantly literally stabbing myself in the back by constantly reaffirming false narratives about me that were absolutely not true, but I've just like completely learned them, and I even made jokes about them. For example, when it came to math, I would always say, of course I can handle money. I was always bad at math. So funny. Oh my gosh, my teacher always told me I'm not good at math. And yeah, I'm just not good at math, you know. But then at some point I realized, like, I'm just not good at math because I keep on telling myself. And I chose to believe this one teacher that told me. And funny enough, when I had a different teacher, I was actually very good at math. And I had a very easy way of understanding things. But then, you know, later on with a different teacher, it just completely stopped, and I hated math. But actually, I didn't hate math in general. I just hated being in school with that certain teacher that used to be very mean to all the students. And so I started to hate math. And then I kept on telling myself I hate math. And I became bad at math. I didn't put any effort into learning anymore. And so obviously I had bad grades. That's when I kept on telling myself I'm bad at math. But in the end, guys, you know what? Like, so many narratives that you keep on telling yourself are not even true. And you can decide at any given time to change the narratives that you keep on telling yourself. You don't have to be a shy person. You do not have to be one that's constantly rejected. You do not have to be all these bad things that you keep on telling yourself. There's a quote that's called, "Use your tongue wisely because it creates either life or death." So it means that everything that you speak has so much power. Your word holds so much power, and we really have to watch out and become conscious and aware of the things that we keep telling ourselves and also other people, because to every word there's a certain vibration, to every word there's a certain meaning. And even sometimes when we jokingly say something, our subconscious mind can't really tell the difference. So we'll keep on affirming and giving you evidence for the things that you keep telling yourself, even if you just make a stupid joke. So even when you say, haha, oh my gosh, I look so fat in this dress, your subconscious mind will register that you think you're fat. So we'll give you evidence of you either feeling or looking fat in certain situations that will confirm that joke that you made like 2 weeks ago. And so you can realize that your higher self can ask yourself questions, your awakened, your conscious self, let's say. Or you could realize that your ego is asking, what happens to you if this doesn't work out? Like, painting all these worst case scenarios usually comes from your ego that wants to keep you safe and that wants to separate you from things. Ego always fights for its life because it wants to keep the identity and the narratives that you keep on telling yourself. The minute that you become consciously aware about your habits and you start to, you want to change yourself and you want to change your behaviors, you want to change your actions, whatever, the ego most of the time will tell you, no, this is too dangerous. Because once you start to awaken, once you become more conscious, the ego actually loses its identity. And the ego wants to live inside of you, you know? It doesn't want to realize that all is one, everything is connected. It wants to be separate from everything. It wants to keep you in your safe bubble. It wants to minimize you. I don't personally believe that the ego is bad and that you need to let it die. I really want my ego to become my best friend. We literally can think ourselves very limited. We can think ourselves depressed and think ourselves unhealthy, unhappy, unlucky. It's all because we don't trust. We question life itself and always are constantly looking out for dangerous situations, and based on past experiences, the ego wants to basically just protect you. It actually serves a purpose, you know. So the same way where you think yourself into misery, you can also think yourself into luck, into positivity, into happiness, into gratitude. You can think your way into a better life. Now I will ask you the 3 questions and I hope you will find an answer to it. And if you do, then share it with me in the comments below. So the first question is, what do I want from life? Most people can't even answer this. They don't even know what they want from life. But you really have to dig deep and not just go very superficial and like, oh yeah, I want a car, I want a house. Yeah, someday I want a family. Like, what do you really want out of this life? What do you think is your purpose? Like, what do you actually want to leave behind when you leave this earth at one point? Who do you want to be remembered for, you know? Next question is, for what do I don't need any motivation? Because when it comes to working on a dream, starting a business, like doing things that fulfill us, a lot of people get very drained in the jobs that they do. A lot of people just constantly wake up drained. They wake up unhappy and they have never tried to find their purpose. They are just lost in life. And I remember very well when I actually did my education as a media designer, I used to go to work by train and I constantly asked myself, like, is this all that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? Like going to work by train, constantly feeling broken, miserable, having to get up working for others, and like, is this what I'm meant to do? Like, this doesn't motivate me at all. I hate it. I'm telling you, I hated to get out of bed in the morning. Like, there was so many times I used to call in sick, even if I wasn't sick, just because I was so unhappy and so unfulfilled. And I know so many people that are working hours and hours and days and months and even years in super draining jobs. And it's so sad because, you know, you really have to realize that you only have this one lifetime and that you get this chance right now. And you have to see it as a privilege and as a chance where you are able to become whoever you want to be in this lifetime and do whatever you want to in this lifetime. And if you keep on doing things that are draining you and sucking literally the life out of you, what are you doing with your life? And I asked myself that many times, and I worked so many different jobs and I tried out so many different things. And I can only encourage you to really find out what you're looking for, to really find out what drives you, what ignites the passion inside of you, because doing something that you love to do, you know, it feels like such a blessing. You easily get into a flow state, and you know what happens when you get inside a flow state and you just are happy with what you're doing? Life just rewards me tenfold if I'm following my passion. Like every single time, and I'm having goosebumps when I'm talking about this because I'm just so happy with what I'm doing right now. And, you know, starting with my YouTube channel again and just talking, and I have a new TikTok channel, and, you know, just like so many ideas are flowing inside of my mind. And, you know, in the beginning I said, I don't have any ideas, but you know what, when you just start, I'm telling you, the ideas will come automatically. Once you are in that flow state and you are having fun with what you're doing, everything, I'm telling you, everything will fall into place. If you truly follow the path that you're meant to be on in this lifetime, I 100% believe that you will be rewarded in any kind of way. You will meet the right people, you will get the right opportunities, you will find so many blessings along the way. You will learn so much about yourself. And even when you fail sometimes, even when you lose sometimes, it doesn't mean that you did the wrong thing, but maybe you needed that specific lesson in order to grow and do it better next time. You know, I never see things in life that I do as a failure. It is always growth attached to experience. Actually, I just had it this night, you know, I couldn't sleep for like hours and my mind was racing. And it was not racing painting worst case scenarios. It was not racing with fearful thoughts. It was actually racing because I had so many ideas, so many things that I want to do, how I want to fulfill my purpose, how I want to do things and, you know, just create. And And I was literally, and I wanted to sleep, but I was literally so happy because I was like, oh my gosh, I miss this feeling so much, like that passion, that fire inside of me, where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to share the things that make me grow so much, to help other people to also change their lives, because this kind of these kind of mindset shifts are really changing my life. And I remember those days where I was so negative constantly about my life, where I was sitting in that train and asking myself if this is all to life. And I was so sad, and I sometimes even like started crying on my way to work. And now, I'm waking up and I have my own schedule. I do things how I want to do them, and I feel very free. I am me, and I fulfill myself, and I keep learning, I keep growing, I always do my best. And that is how you will at some point find your path. You really have to just try yourself out and stop limiting yourself and keep on thinking about, oh, what if this and that happens? What if this will be the best thing ever and you will be the happiest you ever been? Sometimes you just have to take that risk in life, and you have to follow your inner calling. And if you have that calling that something is draining you and you don't want to do something else, then just do different. Because you really have to understand that there's so many people that are so limited because of where they were born. Maybe they even have a handicap. Like, there's so many reasons of why people cannot fulfill their dreams. If you're healthy, if you have options, you are 90% richer than most of the people in this world. So use that. Don't take it for granted. Like, never take things for granted, Like, sometimes I'm realizing how many times we're just taking like the basic things that some people in this world don't even have, how we take this for granted, and how we complain on such a high level, where I'm like, what? I lately have been in Mauritius, and I was in a 5-star resort, and I was thinking like, man, I'm so blessed, I'm so blessed to experience this right here. Like, there's, when we were driving to the hotel and we were seeing the streets and how some people live, I was like, damn, some of us are so lucky, like so blessed, and we take it for granted and we don't appreciate it. And like, we complain about the tiniest things, where I'm like, you know what? Some people out there, they wish to have these problems that you're having right now. And putting it in perspective, most of the times when I'm fearful and I'm having doubts, it is really luxury complaining. So, and the last question that you need to ask yourself is, why do you believe that you can't be how or who you want to be? Why do you believe that you can't have the things you want to have? And you really have to go deep and like ask yourself, where are the limitations really coming from? And maybe also question, who told you that? Why do you believe this? What was the first time in life when you told yourself this limiting belief? Maybe it's a childhood memory. Maybe it's something that somebody told you where you just accepted it and kept on telling it yourself. So many times it is just small moments in our life that literally change the trajectory of how we think about ourselves. And we should never let anybody else in this lifetime decide who we are and what we're capable of. Because the only person that truly is meant to decide that is yourself. All that you really have to understand is nobody is better or worse. There's no better people or worse people or whatever. There's just people that think differently. If you can take that responsibility and that accountability to realize that you are doing these things to yourself, that you are blocking your own blessings, and that it's not the outside world, not other people. You maybe even be a little bit angry at yourself, but that's okay. You know what? Because in that moment where you take that responsibility and accountability for yourself, that is a moment of radical change as well, of transformation, and where you finally take your power back. And with that newfound power, you can now finally start creating the life that you actually want to create. I'm working right now on my own ebooks and self-help workbooks that you can use to really get to know yourself. And I will bring them out very soon, guys. I have so many ideas, and I have done so much work on myself where I was like, you know what? I wish I had those resources from somewhere. And that's when I realized, you know what, I need to create those resources and I need to share them with the world. So I'm currently creating them. So I will share them very soon, guys. And I'm so excited for it. And I hope this will help so many people to really just call back their power and become the person that they were meant to be all along. This was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. If you're new here on my channel, then subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. And if you have any questions, you can always feel free to message me on Instagram or put them down in the comment below. If you have any topic suggestions, then as well down below. And I see you guys in my next video. Mwah.